This is the true story of Australia's most haunted house, the Monte Cristo Homestead. Nestled in the quiet town of Junee, New South Wales, there stands a grand Victorian mansion, a 2-story brick landmark that watches over the town from its perch on a hill. This is Monte Cristo. Built in 1885 by a wealthy settler named Christopher Crawley, this home was meant to be a monument to his success, a symbol of status and prosperity for his family. It was designed to be a place of lavish parties, high society, and a bright future. But from the very beginning, something dark was woven into the fabric of its walls. The dream of a perfect life quickly spiraled into a nightmare, as tragedy didn't just knock on the door, it broke it down. The grand vision for Monte Cristo was soon overshadowed by a legacy of death, suffering, and a presence that refuses to leave. The chain of tragedies began with the very man who built the house. Christopher Crawley, the proud patriarch, met his end not in a peaceful sleep, but in a sudden, violent accident within his own home. He fell, or was perhaps pushed, down the main staircase, the very same staircase that would become a focal point for the paranormal activity to come. He died from his injuries, leaving his wife, Elizabeth, a widow. Devastated and heartbroken, Elizabeth Crawley underwent a profound change. She became a recluse, a woman imprisoned by her own grief and her own home. For the next 23 years, she almost never left the property, cloistering herself away from the world. It's said that she only ever left the house on 2 occasions during that entire time. Locals began to whisper that after Christopher's death, the atmosphere of the house shifted. It became heavy, oppressive, as if the very air was thick with sorrow. Elizabeth's grief seemed to seep into the wood and stone, marking the beginning of the home's descent into darkness. The heavy air in Monte Cristo soon grew thick with the smell of smoke and the echoes of a scream. One of the most horrifying tales from the homestead is that of a young maid. The story goes that she was sent down to the dark, musty cellar, likely to fetch kerosene for the lamps. In the dim light, a terrible accident occurred. Her dress, made of flammable material, caught a stray spark or got too close to a candle. Instantly, she was engulfed in flames. Her agonizing screams were the only warning before she burned to death in the cold stone cellar. Her tragic, painful end left a permanent scar on the house. To this day, visitors who dare to venture near the basement report chilling phenomena. Some smell the distinct, acrid scent of smoke where there is no fire. Others hear the faint, blood-curdling sound of a woman screaming, a ghostly replay of her final moments. Perhaps most unnerving are the reports of sudden, intense heat, a burning sensation on the skin, as if an invisible fire is still raging just out of sight. The estate's tragedies were not confined to the main house. The darkness spread to the outbuildings, claiming another life in a similarly horrific fashion. A young stable hand, entrusted with the care of the Crawleys' horses, was found dead in the stables. Like the maid, he had been burned alive. The exact circumstances of his death are lost to time, shrouded in mystery. Was it a terrible accident? A lantern knocked over in the hay? Or was it something more sinister? Some local legends suggest he may have been deliberately set on fire after falling ill, a cruel attempt to stop the spread of disease. We may never know the truth, but his spirit is said to linger. Nighttime visitors and investigators have reported seeing shadowy figures darting around the stables, dark shapes moving just at the edge of their vision. These fleeting apparitions are often seen near the spot where the young man met his fiery end, a constant, silent reminder of the suffering that took place there. The grand staircase, already stained by the death of Christopher Crawley, was destined to become the stage for yet another tragedy, this time involving an innocent child. A young boy, some say a house guest or a neighbor's child, was playing on the upper landing. In a heart-stopping moment, he lost his footing and tumbled down the same unforgiving set of stairs that had claimed the master of the house. He survived the initial fall, but was badly injured. In a decision that seems almost monstrous today, Elizabeth Crawley, still the grieving and increasingly eccentric mistress of the house, refused to allow him to be taken for medical help. Her reasons are unclear, perhaps a deep distrust of outsiders, or a mind warped by her own sorrow. Whatever the reason, the boy was kept at Monte Cristo, and without proper care, he died from his injuries days later. His small, sorrowful spirit is said to be one of the most active in the house. Guests often report hearing the distinct sound of a child crying when no children are present. Others hear the pitter-patter of tiny footsteps running along the upper hallways, a ghostly game of tag that never ends. As the years of isolation wore on, Elizabeth Crawley's grief seemed to curdle into something far more unsettling. Her behavior grew more and more erratic, and her grip on reality appeared to loosen. This descent into madness had devastating consequences for her own family. She had a daughter who was reportedly born with a mental disability. In an act of what she may have perceived as protection, but what we would see as profound cruelty, Elizabeth locked the girl away. For decades, the daughter was kept confined to a single room, hidden from the world. Some accounts say she was chained up. She was rarely, if ever, seen by anyone outside the immediate family. The room where this poor soul was imprisoned is now one of the most chilling spots in the house. Visitors who enter it report an immediate, bone-deep coldness that has nothing to do with the temperature. They describe an overwhelming feeling of dread and sadness, a palpable sense of the loneliness and despair that soaked into the walls over so many years of captivity. Even after the Crawley family's time at Monte Cristo came to an end, the violence did not. The house sat empty for a period, falling into disrepair. In 1961, a caretaker named Jack Simpson was hired to look after the property. He lived in the caretaker's cottage on the grounds. One evening, he was shot and killed on the property by a local youth who had been inspired by the movie Psycho. The young man believed Jack was standing in his way. The murder added another layer of blood and trauma to the homestead's history. According to the current owners who purchased the property a few years later, the bloodstains from the murder were incredibly difficult to remove. They claimed that even after scrubbing the floors clean, the stains would mysteriously reappear, a ghostly reminder of the violent act. Visitors who walk near the site of the murder have reported experiencing sudden, inexplicable waves of rage and fear, as if the powerful emotions of that night are permanently imprinted on the location. As the decades passed, the paranormal activity at Monte Cristo seemed to only intensify, growing bolder and more physical. The subtle whispers and cold spots of the past were joined by overt, sometimes terrifying, displays of supernatural force. Objects have been known to fly off shelves, thrown across rooms by an unseen hand. People have reported being shoved, sometimes with considerable force, by an invisible presence. The most common location for this is, unsurprisingly, the main staircase, where some visitors feel a pair of hands push them from behind, as if a ghostly entity is trying to recreate the fatal falls of the past. Disembodied voices are a regular occurrence, with many people hearing their names called out by a voice they don't recognize. And then there is the figure. A tall, dark shadow of a man is repeatedly seen standing on the staircase or walking the upstairs halls. Many believe this is the lingering spirit of Christopher Crawley himself, still watching over the house he built, his presence a constant, ominous warning to all who enter. The stories and legends surrounding Monte Cristo have naturally attracted all kinds of people, from believers to staunch skeptics. Over the years, countless paranormal investigators, psychics, and television crews have spent the night hoping to capture proof of the afterlife. Many have left with more than they bargained for. Electronic voice phenomenon, or EVP recordings, have captured unexplained sounds, the distinct wail of a child crying, hushed whispers, and even direct, intelligent responses to questions. Many seasoned ghost hunters, people who have investigated haunted locations all over the world, have been so unnerved by their experiences at Monte Cristo that they have vowed never to return. Some have fled the house in the middle of the night. Even the staff and current owners, who have lived with the phenomena for decades, report that the activity never truly stops. The ghosts of Monte Cristo, it seems, are not just for visitors. They are a permanent part of the household, active even when the house is empty and silent. Today, Monte Cristo Homestead is no longer a private prison of grief, but a historic site, a museum, and a bed and breakfast, welcoming the brave and the curious to experience its chilling history firsthand. It is widely considered the most haunted place in all of Australia. Guests who spend the night share incredible stories. Many report feeling the sensation of being touched by unseen hands, a cold hand on the shoulder or a tug on their clothes. Some have woken up with unexplained scratches on their bodies. The feeling of being watched is almost universal, a constant, prickling sensation that follows you from room to room. And the grand staircase remains the undisputed epicenter of the haunting. It's here that the energy is most intense, where the shadows are deepest, and where the past feels frighteningly present. Was the house cursed from the start? A place built on land that was never meant to be disturbed? Or did the sheer weight of human suffering, the grief, the pain, the madness, leave a permanent stain, creating the very ghosts that now walk its halls? The answers are as elusive as the apparitions themselves. But one thing seems certain. At Monte Cristo, death never truly moved out. It only changed form.